All right, it is time. It is time. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being in my session today. Sorry I can't be there with you, but I am going virtual today with this presentation that we are about to embark on. I'm Julian Smartrimple. I'm going to be the presenter for my session today, which is titled, There is No Smart Without Art. And we're going to be using creative arts in the 21st century. This presentation is mainly for those who are either middle school or high school teachers, 6th through 12th, and a little bit about my background. I've worked in after school youth development and also in school youth development in the schools and also after school programming for about the last, I'd probably say now 12 years. I've worked in Atlanta schools here in APS. I've worked in Cobb County schools. I've also worked in Gwinnett County schools with elementary all the way up to high school. And then I've also worked in after school care for Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro Atlanta. I've worked also for Big Brothers and also Big Sisters of Metro Atlanta. And so I do have both sides of the fence covered when it comes to after school and in school youth development. And so I'm excited for this presentation today. We're going to be diving in to a lot of just what we need to know in reference to engaging our middle school and high school youth. That's the best age group I like to work with the most. Elementary is second, but right around that tween, early teen population where they're not feeling themselves too much, that are seniors or juniors, but that they're either coming in fresh in 9th or 10th grade or either 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And I know most of you all who are here have either worked in the classroom or after school with these youth, and they need us, and they also need to know that we are incorporating the arts into our everyday educational programs and classes. And so I'm going to get ready to step to the side so we can start this presentation off right. And I also was born in Oakland, California. So shout out to the Dubs, Dub Nation, Oakland Warriors. We're about to hopefully take this championship for Game 6 as we go into the final games of the NBA Finals. But I grew up here in Marietta, Georgia, and went to Wheeler High School and also East Cobb Middle School and East Valley Elementary. And so I'm well familiar with the Cobb County school systems. Even recently have been working as a virtual sub and also a supply teacher just to keep my engagement with Cobb schools and also just to keep the temperature of what the kids are learning and also what they are going through for the last school year, 2021-2022. So that's a little bit about me. But let's dive in to this presentation for today. And so the first thing that we always have to start off with is in education, whether you're working in the schools or whether you're working in organizations for after school youth programming, we have to break down SMART art objectives. And so the 3 bullet points that you can see on the screen are: we want to learn how the arts promote positive academic outcomes today. We also want to learn how to incorporate the arts in all of our program areas, in all of our classroom areas specifically. And then last but not least, we're going to be demonstrating the arts in all pillars in school or even after school youth programming. We always break it down into 3 core areas: academic success, healthy lifestyles, and most importantly, character and leadership development. And so these are 3 core areas that I always like to break down any form of education where we are teaching our youth: academics, healthy lifestyles, and character and leadership development. And so what you see at the bottom of the screen is really just a breakdown of how we compare the previous organization's mission statement that I used to work for alongside of the Partnership for 21st Century Skills, what their mission statement is. And so I believe this is on the next slide, but if not, I'll go back. But we need to know, as we see on the next slide, if my PowerPoint lets me go, we need to know what is your school or your organization's mission and how does it incorporate the arts. And so we're going to be looking at my previous organization that I used to work for, their mission statement. And then we need to also have you know what is your school or your school district's mission statement and how does it incorporate arts, whether you're in the classroom or whether you're out of the classroom. We still need to know what our mission statement is and potentially even your vision statement for your school or even for your district. And so what you can see here from my previous organization, their mission statement is solely to save and change the lives of children and teens, especially those who need us most, by providing a safe, positive, and engaging environment and programs that prepare and inspire them to achieve great futures. And for most of us who have heard of Boys and Girls Clubs of America, or if you've heard of Boys and Girls Clubs, period, they're one of the landmark youth development after school organizations most known and most visible in the world. They have celebrities and also notable key influencers from all different walks of life, from Denzel Washington to Mario Lopez to Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo, to Derek Jeter, to Shaquille O'Neal. Tons of influencers that have impacted our society have come from Boys and Girls Clubs and the true foundation that they use to save and change the lives of youth. And so I just wanted to start off by showing this mission statement because this goes hand in hand with 21st century arts, which is what we can see on this slide. Some similarities that we see. Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro Atlanta's mission statement is on the left. And then we see the Partnership for 21st Century Skills on the right. The Partnership for 21st Century's mission is the arts promote work habits that cultivate curiosity, imagination, creativity, and evaluate skills. Students who possess these skills are better able to tolerate ambiguity, explore new realms of possibility, and express their own thoughts and feelings and understand the perspectives of others. The arts can help produce globally aware, I repeat, the arts can help produce globally aware, collaborative, and responsible citizens. Ooh, that sounds like a bumper sticker at the end, because we all are affected by the arts. You, me, your children, for those who are parents, society, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, is all shaped by the arts. And we most importantly want to have our youth, just like us as adults, be globally aware of their surroundings and not be pigeonholed to only think one way, that this is the only way that society is supposed to move. But we have to be able to teach them that this is a global world, a global society. And so we're going to be diving in to how we can literally move that needle forward to show our youth to be multicultural and to also be multi-diverse with their learning by incorporating the arts. And even if you didn't figure out already, we know that the word smart, which is one of my last names, Smart Rimple. My mom is Smart. My dad's last name is Rimple. They hyphenated their names. They thought they were scientists and wanted to incorporate the hyphenation, like some of you all may have a hyphenated name. But we know that the word art is also found in smart. So therefore, hence you cannot have smart without art. So keep that in mind. So these are some quotes that I always like to point out. If we were face to face, we would have some of these posted around the room on Post-it paper or bulletin board paper. But we have at least 8 quotes that we can choose from. I'm not going to read off all of them, but I want you to choose which quote resonates with you personally. Write it down. After today, this is a good quote that you may be able to take as you go into the new school year in August. Which quote resonates with you the most? One of my favorite quotes in these lists are art speaks where words are unable to explain. And so right here at the bottom right, the last quote in black and white, where it says art speaks where words are unable to explain. That's why I love going to art museums. That's why I love even going to certain plays where they are literally incorporating more dance than actually singing, because sometimes we don't need the words. Sometimes we don't need someone who is singing or someone who is explaining to us what is this scene supposed to be of, or what is this sculpture's origin supposed to be from, or having someone literally do an art talk with us to show us what was this made for. Sometimes the art should be able to speak just for itself, just like sometimes our youth and the art, the clothing, maybe the culture that they come from, it should be able to speak for itself. Sometimes we shouldn't need to have words in order to have explanations. And so that's definitely one of my favorite quotes. I'll give one more before we move on. I actually like the top first one, where it's by Albert. He said, "Logic will get you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere." We all have those fantasy movies and those sci-fi movies that we enjoy the most when it comes to the imagination and oh, the places you will go, which is one of my favorite Dr. Seuss books. If we have a wide and also expanded imagination, then literally it can take us anywhere we want, whether it's in the metaverse. Hopefully, we're not going to get trapped in the metaverse with being in the virtual world versus being in the real world and seeing where our imagination will take us. But we know that's where, again, artificial intelligence came from. That's where the metaverse came from, aka the Matrix. For those who have watched the Matrix series, or even the new Matrix that came out last year, our imagination can take us to some weird places. It could take us to some adventurous places, but most importantly, it will take us out of our comfort zone and out of our original state of mind. And so I love that quote by Albert Einstein. And so think about, again, which one or maybe two of these quotes also resonate with you. And you could even use this. I'll give you a jewel that I use when I work with youth. You could even use this as a quick icebreaker activity when you start the new school year, or when you're introducing some form of the arts into your curriculum or your programming for this upcoming school year. Have your youth or your students literally be able to identify certain quotes or certain things like this that resonate with their character, with their feelings, with their culture. You could even switch it up to say which of these quotes incorporate more of what your culture represents, which of these quotes represent how you are feeling today, which of these quotes speak to your personality. Switch it up. It's all about having those icebreakers and also breakout sessions, is what I've learned from being in youth development, because students love to speak and also love to be able to give their opinions just as much as us. And so keep that in mind. Let's keep it rolling. So we all have seen this when it comes to developing 21st century critical thinkers, with, of course, COVID and the school shutting down within the last year, a year and a half. We know how important, especially now more than ever, critical thinking skills are, because we will not always be able to have the luxury to be in person. If another virus or another outbreak happens, we know that us as educators, we would cringe and also really fight against having to go back virtual. But I teach virtual to students in Asia, And I also teach virtual to students here in the US. And that is the way of the future and the wave of the future. We're not always going to be able to have the in-person learning, so we have to think hybrid. And so, with that being said, we see all of the different openings in the brain that occur when we are teaching the youth to be critical thinkers. They're able to communicate clearly and accurately. They're able to make real world applications. I repeat, they're able to make real world applications. We as educators, we want them to ultimately be able to connect the dots before they leave out of our classroom or even before they leave out of our schools, because that is a part of the learning module. We also want them to think critically and creatively. And most importantly, one of the ones that I love the most is to engage in problem solving. If we're not allowing our youth to engage in solving problems on their own, their mom, their dad, we as their teachers or educators or their safety net or their crutch are not always going to be around in order to solve their problems. So they have to be critical thinkers in order to truly be successful in today's society, no matter if they're in elementary, middle, or high school. I always don't believe on babying or spoon feeding middle schoolers or high schoolers, especially. But I more lead them to the water so that they can drink it with my philosophy and mindset. And so, how are you having your youth become critical thinkers? Are you spoon feeding them every single school semester or every single year? Or are you leading them and pushing them out of their comfort zone to have them think outside of the regular box or outside of their regular normal thinking? And then arts and after school. And also, this can be applied to arts in school too. But I also teach when it comes to youth development organizations after school. But we know that arts in school or after school, we want to reach students in ways they are not otherwise being reached. This is critical. We want to reach them in ways that they are not being reached at home, and even reach them in ways that they may not be able to be reached in their regular classes. So that means that we have to connect students to themselves and each other. That means that we have to transform the environment for learning. I'm a huge proponent on decorating your class the way that you want your youth to be able to incorporate their type of learning, not your type of learning as an educator, but their type of learning. So that means if you have a lot of athletes that you may be teaching, incorporate some form of sports paraphernalia. If you have individuals who are into dance, who are into performing arts, maybe put some posters up there of some of the younger performers or the younger dancers. These are things that we sometimes take for granted in middle and high school that we need to decorate just as much as a lot of the elementary school teachers decorate their rooms, their doors, have incorporated arts atmosphere when they walk into your classroom to transform the environment. And you all, I'm not going to read off all of these, but you see the bullet points. We want to provide new challenges for those students already considered successful. We want to enable students to have direct involvement with the arts and artists. And we're going to be teaching some best practices or some smart jewels, as I like to call them, in how to do all of these objectives for in school and after school teaching of the arts. So, what are the type of arts that we usually are able to identify as adults and also even as educators? We see performing arts on the left. Some examples of performing arts: dance. I love dance. One of my favorite styles of dance are African dance and also hip hop. And music. We love and also resonate the most with music, no matter what your ethnicity is, no matter what your cultural background is. When you hear certain types of music, it makes you dance, it makes you stand up. I never liked being at concerts or being at festivals where I see everyone is sitting down in their lawn chairs or sitting down on their blankets on the open field, especially for outdoor concerts. I like to see the concerts where majority of the people, no matter whether it's a elderly couple, no matter whether it's some youth, or even if it's some college students or some young adults. But people need to be up there dancing. They need to be up there getting a two-step on, doing something, being able to enjoy the moment. And music does that most importantly. Operas. Uh, Hopefully, some of you all like going to operas. I know the classical scene is crazy at the Cobb Performing Arts Center. They're always doing some phenomenal events when it incorporates operas. I actually like going to operas myself too. It makes me feel disconnected for a second with the classical music and also the singing. But opera is a great performing arts. Magic, theater, illusions, spoken word, poetry, aka literary, puppetry, and circus. And so Barn and Bagley Circus, they have the Universal Soul Circus that is here. Um, I think they just left, matter of fact, recently at the end of May. But these are all forms of performing arts. We all love to go and see artists perform because that's really where we get to feel the energy being increased in the room. That's where we get to stand up and applaud them for doing an awesome job. That's where we get to be able to even sometimes promote certain artists or certain art forms to our friends and to our social media networks, and most importantly, to our community to show why people need to go out and support the arts, especially for performers. And on the opposite side, we know that there are visual arts. Visual arts are ceramics, painting, drawing, photography, video, design, printmaking, sculpture, crafts, and culinary. These are all prime examples of visual arts. I'm sure we have some photographers that are in the class that either do it part-time or maybe even do it as a hobby. I'm sure we have some painters, some potential Picassos, some Van Goghs in the room. Um, I'm sure we have some people that love to do video editing. You may do it for a hobby, or you may do it part-time, or you may have a full-time business. I'm sure we have some individuals that love sculpting and love craft working. Most of you all may even have that membership with the teachers discount at Michael's or Joann's Fabrics. I know there's some Joann's fanatics in the room or some Michael's fans in the room, but we all are incorporated in some way, shape, or form into the arts. And so, why are we not incorporating this with our youth? They shouldn't just go to art class or go to one of the specials or one of the breakout classes and be able to only experience arts there. We need to bring it into our classrooms. We need to bring it into our programs. They shouldn't have to go to electives or go into any specials classes. They should be able to see art in your class, just like they should be able to be instilled with art in my classes or my programs. And so keep that in mind. Some of my favorite forms of visual arts actually are design, and also I love to see paintings. I love going to the High Museum on the Educator Sundays, getting in for free for one. Hint, hint. I love the events in the arts that are for free, or even just being able to just go and peruse through the different halls of seeing all the art that they bring on display at certain museums. So this is something that you may love to do too. And you can ask your youth, do they actually go to art museums? Do they want to go to art museums? Lead them to the water. You don't have to force them there, but give them the opportunity to learn more about the arts. So this is a video that we're gonna play that gives different art forms of how to incorporate the arts into activities in your classroom. This is a dance battle video that we show a lot with this presentation because we're dealing with middle and high schoolers. It's something interactive that they will be able to identify with some of the dances, maybe even some of the art forms that we see. And so we're going to try and play it, and let's see if it plays for us. Well, we're going to try to play it a little bit later, but let's bring it back. Bring it back. Yeah, the internet is not allowing us to play that right now, but I'm gonna still pull it up so we could play it. But yeah, this is a cool video that I like to typically show because it does incorporate many different art forms. And so let me select it really quick so I can see how we can play this dance battle video. It's very interactive. A lot of the kids and tweens specifically, they always ask, when am I playing this video when I've done this presentation for middle and high school leaders. So let's take a look and see. All right, here we go. Let's take a look. See if this plays, hopefully this time. Here we go.
Hey, what's wrong? Nothing. How'd you do on the algebra test?
Hey, watch it, geek.
Sorry. What did you say to me?
Fight! Let's do this! I'm like a one-hit wonder. And if you show once, you take a number. Lightning strike without all the thunder. Hold your breath, you about to go under. I know the game, I make the rules. And if you show up, expect to lose. This is the fun kids playground. This is the one-hit takedown. Run, just keep your head down. You run. Just keep your head down. You run. Just keep your head down. You run. Just keep your head down.
What do we do? Sleepover. Last Wednesday, remember? Got it.
No, I'm. Came up without making a sound. They never saw me coming out, shaking the ground. I got them all lined up. Now I'm knocking them down. I'm knocking and a knock for dominoes. And a knock for dominoes.
No! We're not doing this right this second! Boom, boom, ching, baga, boom, boom, liggy, liggy, boom, boom. Hey, kids, don't you fight, because all together we can make it right. So stop your bullying. It's not cool. Can we all just get along here at school?
That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even...
Thank you!
Just thanks, Principal. Bye.
Not bad.
Let's get this going. Come on, guys.
Yo, I'm like a one-hit wonder. I get the show once, so take a number. Lightning strike without all the thunder. Hold your breath, we about to go under. We know the game, we make the rules. You better show up and pay the dues. This is the fun kids playground. This is the fun kids way down. You run, you run. So keep your head down. You run, you run, you run, you run. So keep.
So that's just a short video. The title of that video is High School Dance Battle, Geeks versus Cool Kids by Scott B.W. And so I always like showing that video because it's very interactive with the different ethnicities. You probably were able to see, of course, white, black. You saw a little bit of Hispanic students, a few Asians that were sprinkled in there. But most importantly, they were able to show us the importance of literally using dance as a part of fitting in, as a part of being able to prove your status in school. One of my favorite movies, just like you all have probably seen it already, is Mean Girls, because it really shows how high school and also how even certain middle schools operate when it comes to the popular kids versus the nerds, the geeks, the jocks, the ones who are smoking and toking a little bit in school. I forgot what they're called, but it shows where everyone lies at when it comes to their social groups. And so that is something we have to also recognize and not shy away from, is that our youth are going to be a part of certain social groups. So we have to be able to incorporate art in order to meet those social groups that they are at. And so I'm going to see if this presentation allows me to still play again, but we're going to go ahead and keep the show rolling. But what forms of art were you able to see in that specific video? What types of art were you able to see in that video? We talked about, I'm going to read it off real quick because my PowerPoint just froze up on me when I showed that video. You gotta love technology, you all. Technology is going to, in many ways, help us, but it also can be very annoying when glitches happen. But we saw different forms of art in that short video that we were able to show off of YouTube. Shout out to YouTube too. We saw, of course, dance. You may have seen a little bit of theater. They even had a little bit of play acting or play actors that were incorporating the dance. We also saw the list I'm trying to pull up right now for us. We also saw some different forms of mostly performing arts. We didn't see a lot of the other specific arts where it's visual, but we did see a lot of the performing arts. And so when it comes down to it, we have to be able to incorporate that same type of art in our curriculum, in our classes. And I'm just pulling up the PowerPoint so we can pull it back up for you because my PowerPoint froze up for some odd reason on me. But I like seeing the events that our youth are participating in. I like seeing when I'm in the classroom how we can support our youth that are either actors, that are either into artwork or art classes or sculpting. I like even going to certain, let's just say, performances or competitions that some of our students are participating in, because that allows us to feel more connected to our youth. I know nowadays we may not be able to go to as many of their events as we did beforehand due to some of the laws and things of that nature that have taken place. But we can still incorporate ways to showcase their art in our own classes, in our own programs. And this is the point that we're trying to hit home, is that in this presentation, that there is no education or smart without the art. We have to be open and also be willing to incorporate those forms of art that we just spoke of in our own classes and in our own curriculum. And so I'm pulling back up the PowerPoint. I just had to reset it for us really quick. But let's pull it back up so we can have you all see what I'm looking at. But this is a key factor, which I'm pulling up this recent slide right here. U plus art equals goals. U plus art equals goals, you all. U plus art equals goals. When we think of the world, when we think of where we want our youth to be as global citizens that are critical thinkers and globally aware of not just what they see on social media, but even what they see around them, we know that you plus art is truly the ultimate goal, which we want our youth to be at. And so we have to lead them there. We can't force them there. We have to lead them there. And so if we had enough time, I would allow us to play an breakout activity, but I'll leave this proverb with us. Tell me and I'll forget. Show me and I may remember. Involve me and I'll understand. This is a Chinese proverb that I like to use a lot because we always are telling our youth they'll forget. We may even try to show them, but they may not remember, or they may remember. But if we involve them, again, if we involve them in what we are doing in the classroom and even after school or outside of the classroom for those who work for organizations that work after school, then they shall understand. And so an activity that you can consider doing with your students, if you have time in the first semester, especially when you're breaking in your classroom and breaking in your students to literally get to know each other more, is to have them create their own art show, whether it's forming it with social studies, whether it's forming it with math, whether it's forming it with science, whether it's forming it with English and language arts. Be able to incorporate this type of art show somewhere into your curriculum for the first semester. The requirements are here, which is what we use for our middle and high school teams that we work with in Big Brother, Big Sister, and even when I was at Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro Atlanta, but have them be split up into about 3 to 5 teams, however many groups of students that you have. Of course, try to break it down with as even numbers as possible. So about 3 to 5 teams based off of your classroom size. Have them work independently in designing a poster, because they're going to be competing against each other just like they're doing a showcase, basically, an art showcase. Have them create a poster, a flyer that will highlight the art infused component of your choice as an icebreaker. You want them to have an icebreaker to introduce the activity to you all as the class. You want them to have a program breakout activity that everyone in the classroom can do. That means that they need to have enough supplies for everyone in the class to use. And then you most importantly want them to incorporate a reflection. Reflection is key just as much as icebreakers are key in allowing youth to decipher what they learned with the activity. And you can have them do this within your classroom. You can have them, if you're able to go outside the classroom or go outside, whether it's the gym, whether it's a different room, an art room, a computer lab, if you need to get permission to go to the computer lab. We had tween lounges and teen centers at the Boys and Girls Clubs and also other locations that I worked at, or even in the hallway or outside. Weather permitting, you could always use outside, but make sure that they highlight how art is going to be infused in your program area. A challenge that you could even make for students is to incorporate a 15 to 20 minute lesson that incorporates the art for whichever your subject class or whatever your subject area is, whether it's social studies, science, English language arts, math, whatever subject you may teach. Have them incorporate a group activity for at least 15 to 20 minutes. This could even give you time to prepare your lessons for the following week or for later on in the semester, by using some of these activities to incorporate into your lessons throughout the semester. That's a smart jewel that I'm giving you, to have some of the students help you prepare some of the activities, not the lesson, but some of the activities using art. Make sure, again, they have an age appropriate breakout activity. So if they're in middle school, have them focus on something that middle schoolers would not be afraid or not feel uncomfortable to do. If they're in high school, of course, have them incorporate something that will be fun and also be interesting for their peers to participate in. Bring in props, bring in bulletin board paper or sticky note paper, bring in Bluetooth speaker so they can connect with their phone to the musics. Bring in any type of technology, because we know the youth are using technology, but allow them to come up with different playlists that are, of course, clean, with no cursing or any type of lewd lyrics, but have them use all different forms of art. We learned about at least over 20 forms of performing and visual arts today, and have them look at the list on the screen, on the PowerPoint, on your smart board or your smart screen, and literally allow them to choose at least 3 to 5 different forms of art to incorporate. And they'll be able to get about, you can do 15 to 20 minutes. I put 22 minutes until they are able to perform here, but you want to give them enough time so that they're able to share and literally have a breakout for all of your class to participate in as a group. It doesn't have to be a hard sell. Just literally give them creative autonomy and creative control within the guidelines that you frame your live art show in. And most importantly, have fun. Even use a countdown on the screen for allowing them to know how much time they have left before they are able to start the show. And even sometimes put on some soft music or some music, and when the music goes off, that's when the show begins. But have fun with this. I know you'll have a great time getting to learn your students' creativity and their personalities by just using this art show as an introduction in the first fall semester of the year. Constructive criticism. You have to give feedback and also have to give reflection. This is the process of offering valid and well-reasoned opinions about the work of others. Our youth need to be able to get feedback and also get responses so they know whether it was good, whether it was all right, or whether it was wah, 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 which is okay, because we're not going to say it's bad, but we just can say that it could be improved, or they could go nowhere but up from this the next time that they work on a group project together. And make sure they are working in groups. Again, we know that there's a lot of lone rangers and a lot of lone individuals, but they need to receive both positive, and we won't say negative comments, but we'll just say constructive feedback. And so they need to be able to hear that constructive criticism in order to improve their outcomes the next time. And as we wind down, as a short recap, make sure that the youth are learning how the arts demonstrate positive academic outcomes. We learned today that they are able to learn how to incorporate the arts in multiple classes or multiple programs. We also learned that they're able to demonstrate the arts in all classes and programs, no matter what class or what program area that they're in. And most importantly, we learned of different icebreakers and breakout activities that will increase the engagement of our youth, because that's why we're all here, to engage our youth and to increase their connectivity in the classroom. Because if we don't connect all the outlets together, then they're not going to be able to shine bright like the bright diamond jewel that they were created to be. And so make sure you are demonstrating arts in your classroom first when the youth come into your class at the beginning of the year, but also make sure you are continuing that process of art development and smart with the arts throughout the school year, and you will have an awesome school year this year. And so these are all of my contact information where you can reach out to me. I speak to youth in schools. I speak to educators and youth development professionals at conferences, at workshops, and I even travel as a trainer and also a motivational speaker. And so you can reach me at smartjulesenterprises.org to see what myself and our consulting company and agency does. On LinkedIn at Julian Smartrimple. You can tweet me or follow me at Jules Speaks on Twitter, and then also on my Facebook business page at King Jules, Jewelz Speaks. That's King Jules Speaks. And then also, if you want to hit me with the email to follow up to see how I can partner, or our team or with Smart Jules Enterprises can partner with your school, with your organization, or even to give you some consulting or any type of support this school year, definitely reach out to us at smartjulesconsulting@gmail.com. And so these are all the ways that you can stay in touch with myself. I'm just one of the messengers here at the Stemapalooza conference this week. But I know it's been a pleasure serving with you all, despite the technical glitches and the difficulties with the video that we tried to show earlier. Make sure you are incorporating art into your classes. Your youth will remember you. Again, your youth will remember you because you went the extra mile to incorporate music, to incorporate performing arts, to incorporate visual arts, whether it's video, photography, ceramic, sculpting. Don't just leave it to the elective teachers or the individuals that teach specials. Why not you bring in materials, or you bring in the opportunity to be creative with your lesson planning and with your activities, especially even what I always suggest as a best practice, be even in the mindset to assign junior leaders. I am a firm proponent of assigning leaders to actually take the reins in any of the classes. I'm always looking for stars or looking for leaders to take the reins so that they're able to help guide these breakout activities, that they're able to help with soliciting donations or getting the materials from other teachers, or even getting materials from the house to bring in for these competitions, because we want to make sure that our youth are competing, because that's really what life is about. They have to compete for their spot. Nothing is given to them, even whether they come from an upper class background or even a lower class background or a middle class background. We are all in competition in one way, shape, or form. And so we have to be able to bring it and also perform at the highest level successfully in order to really get where we want to go in life. And so that is what we have to teach our youth. We need to literally not shy away or disown or disregard the arts, but why not incorporate it into what we are already doing? Bring in those videos, bring in those forms of music. I even love playing different forms of music throughout the school year and teaching them about Latino or Latina music, teaching them about African music, teaching them about different forms of Asian music. Set the tone in your classroom to bring a different style flavor each week. I know your youth will adapt to you showing them different parts of the world that incorporate the forms of art that you are wanting to teach them in your curriculum or in your lessons throughout the school year. And so please, please, please don't be that teacher that disregards the arts, because it is all around us, you all. And we cannot have smart without art. I'm Julian Smartrimple. They call me King Jules with all of my clients and customers and youth who I serve. But definitely it's been a pleasure serving you for today's session. Hopefully you were able to grab hold of any of the objectives that we set out to learn today. And again, these are all of my contacts that you can reach out to me to stay in touch. Stay in touch with me. I'll be speaking at some other conferences this year with the ASYD After School Youth Development Conference in Athens, Georgia, later this fall. And then I'm also on the road speaking at a couple other conferences for podcasters and also for education later this fall too. And so track with me on social and make sure you shine bright like the bright diamond jewel you've been created to be, because our youth need to see you shine so that they have permission in order to shine themselves. And so don't shy away from the art. Let it shine, and let your light shine for your youth and also for the world to see. I'll see you hopefully soon at another conference event. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay hydrated this summer, because I know it's going to be a hot ATL summer, and stay blessed. Thank you all again for participating, and enjoy the rest of your conference day. Peace.